Welcome to Bethlehem Back Chat, where we talk about the background and backstories of our worship and community as Lutherans.
I'm Pastor Dan Smale, Senior Pastor here at Bethlehem Lutheran Church in Glenshaw.
And I'm Wendy Ferrone, a member here at Bethlehem and producer of the podcast. The topic for today is a really good one. It's an overview of Lutheran Senior Life. It's an organization that one of the members in our congregation is a big part of, and we're excited to have Jane Beecher here, who's a member of Bethlehem again, but she serves also as Vice President of Development and President of Lutheran Senior Life Foundation. Welcome, Jane.
Thank you. Thanks for
welcome.
inviting me.
We appreciate you taking the time to be with us, Jane. Bethlehem and its members have been supportive of Lutheran Senior Life in a number of different ways for quite a while now. So it's good to get the story and share this with other folks in our congregation. So I'm interested, just to get us started, Jane, can you tell us about your time, the whole span of time, your time with the organization, and some of the aspects of your work there?
Sure. About 20 years ago, I moved back to Pittsburgh. I had been away for about 20 years. I moved back
where?
From Columbus, Ohio.
Oh, gotcha.
I'm originally from Pittsburgh, had been in
Okay.
Columbus for about 20 years. I moved back and joined Good Shepherd Lutheran Church of Fox Chapel, where Bob Musser was the pastor at the time.
Yeah.
And he served on the Lutheran Senior Life Board. That congregation had several members who were serving Lutheran Senior Life and the foundation in one way or the other. So shortly after joining that church, they invited me to the annual event, Lutheran Senior Life Foundation's annual event. And it was my first exposure to the organization. I really had never heard about it. I went, met a lot of people, learned about it, about the organization, and just really thought it was a neat Lutheran faith-based organization that I wanted to support.
Sure.
So shortly after that annual event, I was asked to join the foundation board, where I served for 9 years and eventually became the chairperson, and then also served the Lutheran Senior Life Board for 6 years. During that span of time, my parents, who are now 92 and 97,
Wow.
moved into Passivant Retirement Community, where they still reside today. So that let me see the other side as a daughter of aging parents. About 9 years ago, I was quite happy as a banker, and the position I'm in now came open, and I decided to switch careers and joined Lutheran Senior Life and became the president of the foundation.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
Yeah. So you mentioned a couple things. You mentioned the foundation itself, and you also mentioned Lutheran Senior Life. So are those the same or different? Could you explain that for me?
So Lutheran Senior Life is the parent organization, and under Lutheran Senior Life, there are 17 different entities, one of which is the foundation. So one of the nice things about the foundation, we are a
1C3.
501c3.
501c3.
LMNOP.
The Lutheran Senior Life Foundation is a 501c3 charitable organization. So if a donation is made to the foundation, 100% of it goes to the charity. So in order for us to do that, I'm an employee of Lutheran Senior Life. My salary and any other expenses are covered by Lutheran Senior Life. So all of the expenses of the foundation, the building expenses, the salaries, all of the administrative expenses are covered by Lutheran Senior Life.
I think that's important for donors to know.
Critical.
That 100% of their gift is going to do the work
Yeah.
of the foundation. That's fantastic.
There's so many organizations where you hear of a lot of the money going to pay the person who's running the program, and that is absolutely not the case here. That's wonderful. So tell me, I was snooping around the website, and just for those who are listening, Lutheran Senior Life, all one word, .org, and I was amazed at the broad spectrum of offerings that are given under those 17 programs that you mentioned. Could you give us an idea of how it covers so very much, all under the umbrella of Lutheran Senior Life, right?
Sure. So the 17 separate programs and services roll up into 5 main entities. And those entities are, the first two would be Passivant Retirement Community or Passivant Community, which is where it all started over 100 years ago. That's in Zelienople, and it was formed as the Old People's Home. They were called inmates.
They called it Old People's Home?
There is still the original plaque on the stone
And they were
wall.
grateful to have it.
Yeah.
That's right.
And
3 hots and a cot.
it was formed by Lutherans. And so we had Passivant Community and we had St. John Community in Mars. They are both CCRCs, Continuum Care Retirement Communities, which means you can move there in independent living while you're still out and about doing your own thing, but you are guaranteed care until you pass away or decide to leave the community.
So if you ran out of resources, if you entered at an independent living level of care, and make your way through that continued nursing care, assisted living, all of a sudden you run out of funds. You can stick around. Your family doesn't have to make other arrangements for you. You have the luxury of having that kind of confidence throughout the rest of your journey in this game.
That's right, Pastor Dan. So our mission is that we will provide an abundant life for the people we serve, even if they run out of resources.
And that's what the Lord wants for us, is an abundant life. That's a biblical phrase.
Yes.
So that's got to be, I mean, considering medical care costs and housing costs, that's a tall order for the foundation to cover all that.
We cover
care.
about $5 million each year in what we call benevolent care.
Yeah.
So that's through keeping people in their homes when they can no longer pay their monthly fee. We cover it for them. Or if they are in skilled nursing and they need additional tests, they need additional care that the government's not going to reimburse us for, we'll still do it. We won't hold back the care. So it's a bit of a good news, bad news story. The good news is people are living longer. We have quite a population who has lived to be over 100 years old.
Wow.
We celebrate them every year. So that's the good news. People are living longer under our care. It's also the bad news because they're running out of
The
money
funding.
more frequently. But we continue to serve them even when they can no longer pay for their own care. So those are the two main places where people come to live. They leave their homes. And we also have several other communities where people can live in independent living apartments that are not part of the continuum. But that's where people actually decide to leave their home and come under our care. That's what we're most known for. That's what Lutheran Senior Life started as, and that's what people know us as.
I'll tell you, I've been up there to Zelienople. That campus is beautiful. It's well maintained and cared for, and it's lovely. I'm moving.
Yeah.
Well, it is.
I mean,
it's very warm. It's very welcoming. Yes.
And it's great. I've gotten to know a lot of residents, and we have a dining room there. There are several groups of people that meet once a week for dinner, and they can take their wine, their beer, whatever and they go and make a night of it. But it's a very active group of people who live there, and that's all part of the abundant life.
Yes.
So the other three of the 5 main entities are all programs that help people stay in their homes and stay there healthy and in a healthy way. And they include VNA, Visiting Nurses Association of Western Pennsylvania, LSS, Lutheran Service Society, and then our 4 life programs in Armstrong, Beaver, Butler, and Lawrence counties. So through those 3 programs and services, we help people who have chosen to stay in their own homes do it in a healthy and safe way.
And the connection you were mentioning about the community itself, is there a part of that where folks who are staying at home could come join in that community for activities and things?
In those life centers, you mean?
Is that what they're
Yeah,
called?
I think
life centers?
that's the plan, right?
Yeah. So we get them we provide a community service in a couple of ways through Life and through LSS.
Okay.
So LSS, the Lutheran Service Society, has 2 senior centers located in Bellevue and in Beaver County at Center at the Mall. And at those senior centers, people can go and work out in the fitness centers. They get a meal. They play games. They take trips. It's very much a social activity. They can also, it gives our staff there a chance to see if they have a participant. Say Mary comes every day at 11:30, and today's Tuesday and Mary's not here yet, and it's now 12.
Yeah.
They start worrying about Mary and maybe call her, make sure she's okay. Or Mary shows up and you realize she's limping and she might need some help. So you can call family members or get her some help that she needs. But more importantly, it allows them to socialize. And there are people who have been going there for 30, 35 years. And they're friends. I mean, I've gone there. It's a very happy place. It makes you just feel so good because they enjoy life. That's they're living at home, but that's their socialization. And it's very much a part of their lives to be at the senior center.
Well, and these centers are caring for the whole person. I mean, clearly, you're picking them up, you're dropping them off, you're providing transportation. When they get there, there's nourishment, there's shelter, there's good socialization. They're making life-giving connections with other people, making friendships. And at the same time, there's the medical piece where you've got professionals there that are watching to see, and I'm being sincere, that whether Mary's limping or, she's just, that cough isn't going away as quickly as and they could step in and address those concerns as well. So for these folks that are still at home, this is a huge blessing in their lives. Yeah. So you can see why there's so much enthusiasm, I think, around it because it's so important.
And also part of the LSS is a Meals on Wheels in Beaver County, which delivers the meals according to what the person wants. So they can get it 1 day a week or 2 days a week or 3 days a week. And the meals are taken to their home. Again, they're delivered. So if the delivery person sees that there's something wrong at the house, the kitchen isn't working or something, we don't repair it, but they can report back and at least advise some family members or try to get somebody in there. The other part of Lutheran Service Society, or LSS, which is not very well known and really does not fit in the organization, but is part of us, is our adoption agency. And so we can serve people if they are just starting to build a family and need our services, or they want to be foster parents. We can serve them, and we can serve people through their entire lives through our programs. The last piece of the kind of stay-at-home based programs that we offer are the Life programs that I mentioned. And Life is Living Independence for the Elderly is what it stands for. It's part of the national program called PACE. And this is where people decide they're going to stay in their homes. They are nursing home eligible, which means they are not in the best of health. They are very low income as defined by the government. And they're some of the poorest, frailest people that we serve. But they have decided to stay in their home. We take over their medical care, and it's our job to make sure that they stay there and are healthy and are safe. So every day, if they want to go every day, our buses pick them up, take them to the Life Center in that county, and there they can see a doctor if they're having health problems. They could take a shower if they need to. They get a meal. They can, again, work out in fitness equipment. They socialize, play games, have parties, and just meet with each other and have a great time doing it. So again, it's a socialization. The other piece of that is when the bus picks them up or takes them home, the driver can see, is there a problem? The steps are crumbling. Maybe the driver takes the person into the kitchen, sees that the plumbing's not working right. Then we address it, and we're responsible for fixing it. So we'll fix the steps. We'll put ramps in the house. We'll fix the plumbing. We'll make repairs as needed, as much as we can. So there's that aspect of it. The final one is the VNA, which is providing the home health care. So again, people choosing to stay in their home, but we go into the home through a full nursing staff, make sure that they're getting their medication, that all of their vitals are good. And it can be short-term or long-term. It can be somebody just had a hip replacement and needs somebody to check on them every day. We can provide that. Or it can be on a longer term where they're checked more regularly on a regular basis. Also through VNA is an in-home hospice program.
Wow.
So,
Jane, it sounds like, I mean, it's so often the case that people assume that seniors have everything they need. They're on a fixed income, but that income is sufficient. They have medical insurance. But the reality is, as you describe these programs and the way in which Lutheran Senior Life is reaching out into there's still a lot of need.
There is a lot of need. There's
a lot of need that still needs to be addressed despite any kind of assistance or savings that people might have. It's important to raise that awareness. It's not just the school programs. It's not just your local food banks. That kind of need stretches into this particular demographic of our population.
It's very true. And it's not even just about money. While the people served by Life are low income, there are other people, Meals on Wheels and even LSS. You don't have to be low income. So you can have the money, but you're living alone and you don't have the company that you need. That piece of your life is missing. Maybe you're a widower or a widow, and this gives you the companionship to go and see your friends. And again, it comes back to the abundant life.
Yeah,
that's great.
Both my parents have passed, and I know that that my mom had a visiting nurse, as did my father. They were a great connection. And it got to the point where it was just tough to to have meals. But I don't want her messing with the stove. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I mean,
it becomes a safety issue. Sure,
absolutely.
Sure.
And taking a shower, extremely concerning because it's slippery and soapy. And the idea that a person could go there and be showered with safety. And that if there was a slip, somebody's there. That wasn't the case with my parents. And so I so appreciate that consideration for not only health and food and those, but safety. And you mentioned adoption. That kind of threw me because I'm thinking, wait, what doesn't belong here? Yeah. I was thinking senior, but how beautiful is that?
From beginning to end.
To
a certain extent.
Right. And I was also thinking that it's really important for folks at my age and that when we write our wills out and we plan for those inevitable times when we're going to need support, and maybe you don't have children around or don't have children at all or a caring neighbor, wouldn't it be incredibly comforting to know that there is such a place that you can go? Isolation is horrible. All of the needs are met from all of those spaces.
And day in, day out, too. I think that's another important factor here, that especially for these folks that are committed to living at home, this is an ongoing source of care and encouragement that's consistently present in their lives, which is really kind of great.
So how old do you have to be a senior at senior?
Well, it varies depending on the program.
Okay.
You can be as young as 50 to join our senior centers as part of LSS. And then about 60, 62 to move into our residential communities, and around that same age to join the life programs.
Without having to do the lawn.
That's right. That is right.
Shrubs.
That is right.
Well done. And do you have to be Lutheran?
No, you do not have to be Lutheran. We consider, even though Lutheran is in our name, we were formed by the Lutheran Church. We consider ourselves to be faith-based.
Nice.
So at both of our residential communities, we have Catholic services and other denominational services that are held on a weekly basis. At Passivant, we do have Seaman Memorial Chapel, which is an ELCA congregation.
Okay.
So that is a big part of that community. But again, you don't have to be Lutheran to live there, to move there.
I know it can be tough to share these. You have to be careful with confidentiality issues. But are there any stories in particular, Jane, that really capture what it is that Lutheran Senior Life is up to and the impact that it can have in a person's Do you have an anecdotal story like that to share? I think sometimes those personal stories really are the ones that stick with us and motivate and inspire folks to be supportive of organizations like Lutheran Senior Life.
A piece that I didn't mention is that we also have affordable housing that rolls up under LSS. So these are HUD buildings, again, for lower income people.
Okay.
At Passivant, we have Luther Court, which is a HUD building. There was a woman there who was part of the Royal Air Force.
Oh,
Wow.
And just turned, I believe, 101.
Oh, my.
And is just a delight. And, you look at someone like that, and she's in pretty good health, but you think, she's 101. She is just one of the happiest, most delightful people you'd want to meet. She's had some health problems recently, but just bounces back and is just, I will always remember her when I think of my career at Passivant and at Lutheran Senior Life because of how happy she is. I will also share that, I mentioned my parents live there. And they've lived at Passivant for 16 years.
Wow.
And I think if you ask, they have told me neither one of them thought they would live this long. My dad did not think he would live to be 97.
Wow.
And they're still in independent living. So he's still driving.
Right.
They still cook their own meals or get takeout, but they are in really good health. And I'm not so sure they would be as in good of health as they are if they had not moved to Passivant. One of the neat things, and we're just in the process of going through this, though, even though they're in good health, my dad is 97. There are some things he just can't do quite as well. My mother, with some arthritis and things, is struggling with some things. We have occupational therapists on staff, and I had one of them come in, and it can be as simple as putting grab bars in the right places and just reconfiguring some things, picking up some carpets, just doing some really basic changes around their home that help them navigate. Mm-hmm. So it's all of those kind of things. The goal is to keep people independent as long as we can. My goal is to keep my parents in this home forever, hopefully. Sure. Yeah. And it's through those little tweaks, making some changes to the shower heads and to the shower door to help them get in a little bit easier. That keeps them living, keeps them alive.
Wow. Well, and I can see why you're so passionate about this. I mean, as you share those accounts, there's a couple things that come out of that for me that I'm picking up on. The first, the kind lady that was in the Royal Air Force and is now over 100. She's in a place where she's valued. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, I don't think it's a small thing, Jane, that in your role on the foundation, this administrative role, that you know her story, you know her recent health history, and have a heart for her. That matters. It matters to you. It drives you in your work, but it matters to her. And then by extension, this understanding that, because we mentioned earlier, there's some good and bad news that these folks are living longer. Well, it might be your fault. Sincerely, right? When you look at it, the quality of life that Lutheran Senior Life is offering to these residents and to those folks that are still in their home but have contact with LSL staff from day to day, they're fueling a higher quality of life that is impacting the way in which these people can face every single day. To get up, and it's not just the aches and pains. It's not just, am I going to be able to get this toaster to work? All of that stuff, to one degree or another, gets relativized by the reality that the bus is coming.
Yeah.
Yeah?
I'm going to see my friends today.
Right. I'm going to dinner with this family and that family and so and so and so and so, and it's their turn to bring the bottle of wine. And it sounds like such a small thing until it's not a small thing anymore.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
I mean, it's tremendous. Really, it's a tremendous ministry.
And I really consider it an honor to work there. I mean, I have met so many people, and it's like working in a library in many ways, or reading a history book, because these people have all done something.
Right.
they all had careers. They've all done something, and they have a story to tell. If I could share a funny story, several years ago, we were putting the community a garden in place at Passivant, and I raised the money for it, and we were putting some gazebos, and there's a little fountain there, and a resident came over, and I could tell he was pretty upset, and I said, sir, what's wrong? And he said, you did that whole garden, and you never consulted me. Oh. And I said, well, I'm sorry. Like,
You're just trying to do something nice, right?
Well, as it turns out, he works for the Department of Parks and Recreation.
Oh, my.
And he said, I could have helped you lay that thing out.
Amazing.
And it might have been a little different than what it was. So these people, they're older, but they have a lot.
Still have something to give.
They still have something to give, and they want to share it. Yeah. They want to share what they know and what they've done. And so I just soak it up. Yeah. I love to spend time with the people at all of the parts of Lutheran Senior Life, not just the residential people, but the LSS and all of the life participants, because I learn something every time I'm with these individuals.
And I will tell you, it's a comfort for me to know that there is such a place that, in my golden years, it's security for me to know that there is such a place, a loving and caring place. And I know the listeners cannot see this, but every time you speak of them, you smile.
Yeah, it's true. I noticed the same thing.
Did you? Yeah. And I think that's critical. Anything before we close that you want to share?
As our listeners tune into this podcast and check out this episode, they might be asking, wow, this is amazing. I too find it valuable that there's a possibility out there for me that when I get to that place and stage in my life, the things that are important to me, community, church, safety, security, they're going to be available to me. I want to support that. I want to pay it forward. How can our listeners support, or our members of our congregation or surrounding congregations, how can they be supportive of Lutheran Senior Life?
So if you want to support us financially, you can give to and designate any of the different entities that I just mentioned.
Okay.
I also mentioned that 100% of a gift given goes to the charity. And it could be a cliche, but I mean this most sincerely. Every dollar counts.
Right.
Mm-hmm. So every dollar, every $5, we put it to use. It helps somebody in some way. Those dollars and $5 all add up. The easiest way is to call the foundation. We're on the website, and we can talk through if there's an area somebody wants to learn more about how they want to give. We have ways to make recurring payments every month. We can be left in people's wills and estates, so the money comes to help. There are a variety of ways to give.
Sounds like the first step is get to the website, and it's obvious where the donate button is and the number is and the contact information. Okay, perfect.
And I'll link that in the show notes so that you have the website available there. Well, this is, I'm proud to be a Lutheran, knowing that there are Lutheran
I am too.
support out there for folks that are like adoption to the day you
hospice
meet the
care.
Lord, right?
Yes,
and hospice. That is incredible to me. And I have learned so much. So is there one thing I'm curious about, is there a volunteer option? Is there a way for folks that if they were looking to help in a volunteer way rather than a financial way, is there a volunteer option?
We do use volunteers in a variety of ways.
Okay.
There are volunteers at both of our the main residential communities who do everything from office work to helping with activities.
Yeah.
We have volunteers at pretty much all of the entities. At the senior centers, there are volunteers who help, again, with activities, with programs, just being there on a regular basis, as well as at the life centers. So if you can't help financially, or you would choose to do the volunteering or do both, that is definitely an option.
Well, Jane, sincerely, thank you so much. We know you have a full and busy schedule. You cover a lot of ground. So the fact that you took a little time out to spend with us means a lot, and we're grateful for your leadership, your presence in our congregation, and your commitment to this legacy and tradition that's been passed along to you, but you have stewarded so nobly for years now. So thank you so much. Appreciate it.
And if you're interested in volunteering or donating or just learning more about it, you can go to lutheranseniorlife.org, or you can say, "Hey, Jane," while she's in the narthex.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right.
An amazing bunch of work here. And join us for worship.
Yes, summer schedule now.
Yeah.
Through Labor Day weekend, 6 o'clock Saturday evening, 8 and 9:30 on Sunday morning. Lots on the calendar this summer. VBS, the young people are headed to New Orleans for the National Youth Gathering.
Going to New Orleans. Right.
So thanks for being a part of this community, and thanks for those folks who aren't a part of the community and still tune in so faithfully. God bless you all.
Thank you. Take care, everyone. God bless.